Hi, this is Robert Walters, Invasive Species Program Manager for Colorado Parks and Wildlife. Welcome to the 2024 State of Colorado's online watercraft inspection and decontamination recertification course for experienced authorized agents. To be eligible for this online course, you must have been certified in both inspection and decontamination for a minimum of 2 prior consecutive years. The purpose of this course is to provide continuing education in a standardized format to update staff and refresh certification for those that work to protect the waters of our great state from harmful invasive species. The mandatory boat inspection program in Colorado is operated with the cooperation of many different jurisdictions. While Colorado Parks and Wildlife coordinates the program throughout the state, inspection sites are operated by city, county, state, federal, and private partners. Always striving for a seamless program across jurisdictions, CPW works with partners to maintain a standardized and consistent program. CPW has designed this standardized course that all inspectors in the state must take and pass to be certified to do inspections, regardless of whom they work for. The state of Colorado now has more than 10 years of experience operating the largest boat inspection network in the nation, and these protocols do work. The mission of the Aquatic Nuisance Species Program is to protect wildlife, recreation, natural resources, infrastructure, and the economy by preventing the introduction of zebra and quagga mussels and other invasive species, by containing current infestations, and stopping the spread into new waters. The ANS program achieves this through watercraft inspection and decontamination stations, sampling for early detection and monitoring of current ANS populations, and public educational campaigns. While the state invasive species program's priority is to prevent an introduction of zebra and quagga mussels, the ANS work is focused on all aquatic invaders that pose a potential threat to the state. The majority of Colorado's waters have no aquatic invasive species, and we intend to keep it that way. The state of Colorado does have known populations of New Zealand mud snails, rusty crayfish, Eurasian water milfoil, and most recently, zebra mussels. The ANS program works to prevent the transportation of further distribution of these harmful invaders within the state. There are many other ANS that are not known to be in Colorado, and we work together to prevent all of these species from coming into our state. These species include quagga mussels, spiny and fishhook water fleas, African alodia, invasive carp, giant salvinia, hydrilla, parrot feather, and yellow floating heart. After the discovery of zebra mussel larvae in Lake Pueblo in January of 2008, the Colorado legislature quickly passed Senate Bill 08-226, or the ANS Act, in May of 2008. This act formalized the state ANS program. The act made it illegal to possess, import, export, ship, transport, release, plant, place, or cause an ANS to be released. It also provided the authority for authorized agents, as well as qualified peace officers, to inspect and decontaminate for the purpose of ANS prevention. The Act also provides authority to create authorized locations. These are the locations where watercraft inspection and decontamination take place and is authorized by the state. You will be working at an authorized location. The Act also created agents. Authorized agent is the legal term for an inspector and decontaminator. The Act gives agents the authority to temporarily stop and detain a conveyance, inspect the conveyance for ANS, and recommend and perform a decontamination if the operator is willing. You will once again be certified as an authorized agent after you pass this course. Qualified peace officers are post-certified officers. They can order the boater to comply and impound the boat if the boater does not comply. Peace officers are only needed if the boater is non-compliant. This is rare, but for those inspectors that have needed law enforcement assistance, it is greatly appreciated to have them. ANS regulations are covered in Chapter P8 of Colorado Parks and Wildlife's regulations. These regulations require that all persons be trained and certified by CPW prior to performing inspections in Colorado. They also allow CPW to create authorized locations, set the ANS prohibited species list, mandate inspection and decontamination, and set the standards by which we perform these various activities. In 2021, House Bill 21-1226 was passed. This bill authorized CPW to operate a 2-year pilot program for roadside watercraft inspection and decontamination. For the 2022 season, CPW chose 3 dates when the most Colorado boats were leaving Lake Powell. Those dates were May 15th, July 23rd, and finally September 5th, which was Labor Day. In total, 138 watercraft inspections and 60 decontaminations were completed and 26 mussel-fouled boats were intercepted. For the 2023 season, we piloted this program at alternate ports of entry all around the state. As I stated, in 2023, the ANS program broadened our horizons by testing out other potential locations for roadside inspections. We spent time in Fort Morgan, Cortez, Loma, Lyman, Dinosaur, Lamar, and Alamosa. The Loma Port of Entry on I-70 and the Trinidad Port of Entry on I-25 had the most traffic and the highest potential for intercepting mussel-fouled boats. Based on this data, we will operate those 2 stations 5 days a week during the 2024 season. Now, we'll provide a general overview of the state ANS program. The ANS program's implementation is based on large amount of data and scientific analysis. Everything that we do is grounded in risk assessments based on scientific literature. The data collected by you, our inspectors and decontaminators, is critical in providing accurate analysis and directing the limited resources we have to the areas of greatest need. Colorado has taken a 3-tiered approach to analyzing risk. Step 1 is the risk of introduction. In other words, what is the likelihood that mussels will be introduced via recreational watercraft? Step 2, risk of establishment. What is the likelihood that if introduced mussels can build shells and survive? And last but not least, step 3, an additional risk of establishment. What is the likelihood that mussels can grow, reproduce, and establish an invasive population? The results of this assessment show that all waters in Colorado are susceptible to mussel invasion. If you'd like to know more about this risk analysis process, please contact CPW's Invasive Species Program. Now, we'll move on to sampling and monitoring. ANS sampling crews monitor over 500 waters in the state. The crews follow standardized protocols that target specific life cycles of mussels. We do plankton tows to find veligers, the initial microscopic or planktonic life stage. We set out substrates to find the second life stage called settlers, which is when the mussels begin to settle out of the water column and build shells. And last but not least, we do shoreline surveys to search for adult mussels. You will once again review more about the mussel life cycle in the next module on biology. The crews also sample for crayfish, plants, and other mollusks. You will see these crews throughout the year. The frequency and quantity at which we sample is based on the risk of the water body. Please do help our sampling and monitoring crews get on the water fast so they can get their work done efficiently. We will talk more about where other ANS species are found in Colorado during Module 2 on biology. As you can see, we focus the monitoring on plankton tows to try to find the earliest introduction of mussels possible, targeting the juvenile life stage versus discovering an invasion when it's too late to do anything. More sampling was performed in 2023 due to increased efficiencies that have allowed us to expand and sample more rivers and streams than ever before. You know we sample for ANS using many different methods for different life stages. Similarly, we have different standards to positively identify zebra and quagga mussels depending on the life stage. For veligers, the organism must first be identified under a microscope. We need to see an animal. Then we use PCR, or polymerase chain reaction, to confirm the species identification using molecular analysis or DNA analysis. Lastly, gene sequencing may be used to ensure the DNA of the species in question genetically matches zebra or quagga mussels. In order to list a water body for veligers, we have to see the animal and get positive results on 2 rounds of genetics to confirm there is no other animal in the world it could be. For the settler and adult life stages of mussels, taxonomic identification must be confirmed by 2 independent experts. DNA analysis may or may not be required for further confirmation. The same is true of plants, mollusks, and crustaceans. In August of 2013, the Western states gathered in Denver and agreed upon the regional language and water body definitions for aquatic invasive species. Colorado adopted this language in January of 2014, along with many other states. Most waters in Colorado are negative and therefore operate as prevention waters. Inconclusive means there has been an exposure to mussels, but actual organisms have not been found, only environmental DNA. There are no inconclusive waters in Colorado. Suspect means that a water body has met the minimum criteria for detection once. Positive means that a water has met the minimum criteria for detection more than once. And in September of 2022, Colorado made its first ever discovery of adult zebra mussels at Highline Lake. Previously, there had been only veligers found in the state. Highline Lake is considered infested. Infested means there is an adult reproducing population in the water body. Highline Lake is considered to be infested due to the finding of many adult mussels as well as veligers. We are surrounded by infested waters in states such as Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, Utah, Texas, Arizona, California, Nevada, and most states east of Colorado. Colorado also adopted the Western Regional Standards for delisting waters for zebra and quagga mussels in 2014. Per this regional standard, a water which has tested positive for zebra or quagga mussels must go through 5 subsequent years of negative testing to go from a positive to a negative status. A water which has tested suspect for zebra and quagga mussels only needs to go through 3 years of negative testing to be delisted. Per the regional standard, Colorado delisted Grand Lake, Granby Reservoir, Shadow Mountain Reservoir, Willow Creek Reservoir, Jumbo Reservoir, and Tarryall reservoirs after 5 years of negative testing in 2014. These reservoirs all had a single veliger detection in 2008 and no detection since. Blue Mesa Reservoir was also delisted from suspect to negative in 2014. In January of 2017, Colorado also delisted Pueblo Reservoir after 5 years of negative testing. Most recently, in January of 2021, Colorado delisted Green Mountain Reservoir. As I mentioned, Highline Lake in western Colorado is currently listed as infested with zebra mussels. ANS sampling and monitoring crew members detected an adult zebra mussel attached to an intentionally deployed artificial sampling substrate in September of 2022. Highline ran under containment protocols for the 2023 boating season, but is still a prevention location for all other ANS. Weekly sampling was performed all year at Highline and found no positive results until September 22nd of 2023, when one veliger was found in the reservoir and one veliger was found in Mackwash immediately below Highline. On October 1st, buoys and other equipment were removed as routine end-of-season maintenance. Unfortunately, several adult mussels were found on this equipment as it was removed. In November of 2023, the ANS program elected to perform another chemical treatment to control the population until Highline Park staff are able to drain the reservoir. A partial draining will take place in the spring of 2024, leaving the water levels low throughout the summer. As a result, Highline Lake will be closed to motorized boating in 2024. In the fall of 2024, the lake will begin its complete draining, allowing the lake bed to dry and freeze over the course of the winter season. Next, let's discuss the mandatory watercraft inspection and decontamination program here in Colorado. Colorado is a mandatory inspection state. That means that your boat has to be inspected before launching in waters of the state, according to CPW regulations, if the watercraft has been launched out of state, is leaving an ANS positive water within the state, or before launching anywhere the owner or manager requires it. All out-of-state boats must pass a state-certified inspection before launching on any Colorado body of water. In Colorado, we have 4 different types of wind stations. We have negative prevention waters. These are waters that have never had a verified detection of any ANS or have been delisted. Then we have other ANS positive waters. These are waters that have a verified presence of an ANS listed in our Chapter 8 regulations other than zebra or quagga mussels. Most ANS positive waters are also prevention waters for mussels and other ANS. Then we have zebra and quagga mussel containment waters. These are waters that have had a verified zebra or quagga mussel detection. And last but not least, we have off-water stations. These are authorized locations that are not at a lake or reservoir, including offices, marine dealers, and ports of entry. There are 77 watercraft inspection and decontamination stations in Colorado, which are operated by a variety of jurisdictions. The majority of these are operated by CPW and private industry. Again, this is a partnership effort. CPW does not own very much of the water here in Colorado. This map shows the distribution of inspection stations across the state. As you can see, we have stations from corner to corner. In Colorado, a boater should never be too far from an inspection station to comply with our mandatory inspection regulations. There are many partners involved, again, including private industry, the federal government, cities, counties, and of course, Colorado Parks and Wildlife. In 2023, Colorado operated the second largest watercraft inspection and decontamination program in the nation, second only to Minnesota. As you can see, there are around 500,000 inspections performed in Colorado each and every year. 2020 was a record-breaking year with almost 650,000 inspections. Fortunately, those numbers did not sustain, and we are moving back towards typical traffic patterns. Since the inception of the program back in 2008, there have been over 6.5 million inspections and just shy of 200,000 decontaminations. It's important to note that there is a large increase in the number of decontaminations performed each and every year. This is a direct result of CPW and our partners adapting to mitigate new threats. Recent research publications indicate zebra or quagga mussel veligers can survive up to 27 days in standing water on boats. Another factor increasing Colorado's need for decontamination is the increase in mussel-infested waters in other states, including Lake Powell, northern Texas reservoirs, and more recently, South Dakota. Lastly, waters in close proximity to or positive for other aquatic nuisance species such as New Zealand mud snails or Eurasian water milfoil perform more decontaminations to limit their spread within the state. CPW and our partners revised mandatory standing water decontamination triggers in 2013 to reduce the threat of invasion from viable zebra or quagga mussel veligers living in standing water. This is intended to protect against watercraft coming from other states' infested waters and to reduce the spread of other aquatic invasive species. Staff at Colorado's network of watercraft inspection and decontamination stations routinely intercept watercraft infested with zebra or quagga mussels or other suspected ANS. It is obvious that recreational watercraft is the main pathway of spread and invasion for zebra and quagga mussels to move over land and infest new waters. Since the inception of the program, there has been 830 mussel boat interceptions. All of these boats were coming in from out of state and were fully decontaminated before being allowed to launch. It is important to remember that the vast majority of mussel boats found in Colorado do not have attached mussels. Shells are most often found inside the boat in compartments or on carpets. So please remember to get inside the boat for those incoming inspections. Some of Colorado's busiest reservoirs intercept the most mussel-infested watercraft, but it's not just the heavy lifters that get mussel boats. We have had interceptions in all four regions at very large and very small reservoirs that are operated by a variety of jurisdictions. About 64% of the mussel boats originated from Lake Powell in 2023. These mussel boats are coming in from all directions. It's important to be vigilant with boats from all locations around the country. We have intercepted boats from all over the country. Colorado is truly surrounded by infested waters, but we do have the tools to prevent those infested boats from getting into our waters, and we can continue to keep our waters free from these aquatic invasive species. Now, we'll chat about a few other CPW operations. It is required in regulation that the ANS program conduct quality control evaluations to ensure that stations are following protocol and providing protection to our aquatic resources. This includes secret shopping of inspection stations, on-the-job training and evaluation, and evaluating customer service representatives throughout the state. The intent is to improve inspections and decontaminations and ultimately provide the highest protection of our resources and our recreational opportunities. There are different types of quality control. We are always striving to provide the highest quality customer experience while also making sure resource protection is the #1 priority. Remember, one quality inspection can save an entire watershed from an irreversible and devastating invasion. Hatcheries in Colorado are required to do annual fish health inspections and have protocols in place specific to those facilities, as well as fish transport, to prevent the spread of fish disease as well as aquatic invasive species. They are regularly monitored for ANS, and to date, no mussels have ever been found in a Colorado hatchery, but protections are in place so that CPW has the highest assurance of risk mitigation just in case. We strive to set the example and do the maximum protection possible. You will see ANS sampling crews and aquatic biologists from time to time at reservoirs or on the inspection ramps. Every member is certified to do their own inspections and decontaminations. They fully decontaminate all their equipment and boats in between each and every use. They will be green sealed with an accompanying receipt. While they do have to stop and have the inspectors verify their seal and receipt, please do not hold them up on the ramps. They are being paid with ANS funds, same as many of you, to sample and monitor your lake or reservoir, and the most efficient use of our resources is to get them on the water fast. All Western states have some sort of aquatic nuisance species program in place. Some have very sophisticated boat inspection systems similar to Colorado. However, many states are unfunded or underfunded, and almost all lack the personnel needed to run inspection stations. While there are many challenges ahead for other states and the region, Western states are working together to find common solutions and create connections between Western state ANS programs. We are connected and we are helping each other to fight invasive species. Last but not least, we'll discuss education and outreach. As an inspector, your primary objective is to educate boaters and anglers to clean, drain, and dry their boats and gear in between each and every use. Colorado will never have the resources to perform inspections on every body of water 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Research has shown that using the authority of the resource, or making one understand their impacts on the environment is the most successful way to change negative behavior. If boaters and anglers understand that transporting ANS will cause harm to their favorite fishing and boating spots, they are more likely to clean their boats and gear and transport them cleaned, drained, and dry each and every time. The state of Colorado trains around 700 inspectors a year. Our inspectors train close to 90,000 boaters through the performance of almost 500,000 inspections each and every year. In doing so, you are teaching the boaters to clean, drain, and dry. You are teaching boaters not to transport standing water and to pull their plugs. You are teaching the boaters to remove plants when leaving the water. We are changing the culture of boating. If there is no water, no mud, no plants, and no animals on board the boat in between each and every use, we are significantly reducing the risk of transporting invasive species. To assist you with educating the public, we have lots of educational materials for your use. The CPW Program Office develops these to meet the needs of the field. If you have ideas for improving our education program, please do feel free to reach out. Congratulations. You have completed the first module for your recertification as an authorized agent or inspector and decontaminator. Please complete the exam questions and move on to Module 2 on biology. Thank you.